What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today we have a fun one. This is the card that, as of this recording, given all the spoilers that I've seen so far, this is the card I am the most excited to play from March of the Machine. Bar none, frankly. It is Etali, Primal Conqueror. This thing is bananas, and I'm just gonna read the card and you're gonna understand why it's bananas. So, it's a double-faced, it's a transforming double-faced card. So, 5 red, 7 mana, you get a legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, 7/7 with trample. When Etali, Primal Conqueror, enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. But wait, there's more. For 9 and a Phyrexian green, transform Etali, activate only as a sorcery. And on the backside, we have Etali, Primal Sickness, which is a Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur, 11/11, trample, indestructible. Whenever Etali Primal Sickness deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. So, Wizards has done a phenomenal job in this set of making Toxic a mechanically unique thing that is very, very different from Infect. But in the case of Etali, it was like, screw it, let's just give it Infect. Except Infect is not an evergreen keyword, so they didn't give it Infect. They gave it a long-winded version of Infect. So, actually, oh, wait a minute, never mind. When Etali's, no, it's actually not, it's not perfect Infect, because in this case, it still deals the damage in addition to getting the poison counters. Whereas with Infect, they deal damage as poison counters. So this is different. Also, it's only combat damage. So it's not, you couldn't give Etali Primal Sickness the Viridian Longbow and just ping your opponent for poison counters, which that would be a waste of this body anyway. But anyway, there are jokes to be had there, but I'm going to keep moving. So Etali Primal Sickness is dope. This is Blightsteel Colossus as a dinosaur, which is fantastic. It's an indestructible trampler, which is interesting. I love the fact that they gave it indestructible, because in this story, Etali gets its head ripped clean off. It gets destroyed. So, it gets destructed pretty hard. However, that's fine. It is what it is. It's Blightsteel. This is just straight up Blightsteel. And on the back end, or on the front end rather, but that's the other thing too, like, the backside is gravy. Like, that's just a bonus if you get there. But you don't need to get there for this card to be fantastic. Like, it's just truly excellent. So Etali Primal Conqueror is a 7/7 trampler for 7 that lets you free cast stuff from every player's deck on ETB. So Etali Primal Storm was already a phenomenal card in Commander that actually is really cheap despite that, because it got reprinted a ton. Because it's like the epitome of just like big, powerful Commander bomb. It is really what the original Etali was. Well, they gave us that here too. The thing with Etali Primal Storm that balanced it was that it had to stick on the battlefield and it did not have haste. So you had to either use some kind of effect to give it haste and then get the trigger on attacks, or you had to wait a full turn cycle where your opponents can deal with it before you get to attack with it. And then on attacks, you get to flip the top of everybody's library and cast anything there. If you hit lands on that, it's just a full whiff. You just don't get anything. In the case of Primal Conqueror, if you hit a land, keep going until you find something. And it's each player. This includes you. So this is like ultra mega super cascade. For a million reasons. One, it's getting every player on the board. So in Commander, this is just like, you just get 4 spells. They may be relevant, they may not, but if you're in a play group where people are running big crazy things, you could get 20 mana worth of stuff off that ETB easily. Add a Panharmonicon or an Elder Norn Mother of Machines to the mix and you do it twice, get out of town. The amount of free casting you get off this thing is just disgusting. The other thing you can do with this, which is a combo that I need to give a huge shout out to Twitch user Cozy Porcupine for pointing this out to me. I know a lot of people have blown it up on social media as well, but they're the one who brought to my attention. Is this plus Displacer Kitten is truly disgusting, because with Displacer Kitten, every time you cast a non-creature spell, you get to blink a permanent you own. And so if you're blinking Etali, so you drop Etali, you free roll into into some cards. If any one of them is a non-creature spell, when you cast that spell, you get a Displacer Kitten trigger, it blinks Etali, and you get to spin again. As long as you keep hitting a non-creature spell, you can do that all day. So in a 4-player pod, you might straight up, honestly, cast all spells out of every library with this. Like, if you came in with the game with that, I can't help you. Like, that's nuts. So the other criticism, the only criticism that I've heard anybody level against this card is that the transformation cost is expensive. You know, it flips for 10. That is a very reasonable cost. So in order to get this, like, Blightsteel Colossus, Etali Primal Sickness on the field, you do have to have... You have to spend 7 mana initially, unless you reanimate this in some way, and then you need to pay 9 and 2 life, or 10 mana in addition to the 7. So you're looking at 16 mana or 17 mana, depending on if you're willing to shock yourself for that Phyrexian cost, which is a lot, but you get that. You get that back. You just do. Like, I mean, a bad hit on this is still probably... I don't know, 5 mana worth of spells that may or may not be relevant, maybe help smooth your hand, maybe gain you a little bit of life, whatever the case may be. Like, even the bad hits on this are probably still going to be good. Like, there's no true whiff on Etali Primal Conqueror. And on top of that, like I alluded to or kind of mentioned, that it doesn't say when you cast it. So it's just when Etali Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield. Doesn't matter how it enters the battlefield. However it gets there, you just get this trigger. Yeah, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. So you'd better believe I am going to be running a deck. It's probably going to end up being 5-color in some way. That's leveraging Fight Rigging, Etali, and Atraxa. With Cruelty of Gix in there too to reanimate the combo. Like, that's going to happen. And it's going to be live on my Twitch channel. I highly recommend you all check it out. Because that is just bomb after bomb with a side of bombs. Did I mention the bombs? Because there are some bombs that all just kind of come together to do some disgusting, crazy things. So, like, with Etali, if I cast Etali pre-combat or get Etali or reanimate Etali pre-combat, I spin Etali. I steal a card from you, and I can free cast it. I then hit a card in my library. If I hit like an Atraxa, I just get to free cast Atraxa. Gross. That's absolutely disgusting. But if I hit a Fight Rigging pre-combat, guess what? I now then get to Hideaway, take a look at 5 more cards, pick one of those, and then when combat rolls around, the Hideaway on Fight Rigging triggers, I have a creature with power 7 or higher, and I get to free cast that spell again. So it just it's free stuff with free stuff and a side of free stuff. Did I mention there's free stuff? Because holy crap, Etali Primal Conqueror, like, Etali wants to give you free stuff, and I think that's fantastic. And on top of that, it's on a gigantic 7/7 trampling dinosaur. This card's wild. I mean, the criticism about the flip is real. Like, if you want this card in your deck, do something with the front face. Make sure you are taking full advantage of the front face. I think Primal Sickness being a secondary win con with like that infect, 11 power action, it's cool. Like, that is a way that you can like stick it to life gain decks or something of that nature. But for the most part, that's gravy. That's not really what you're here to do with this card. I don't think, anyway. At least that's not what I'm going to be doing. Now, there isn't one detail that I want to point out, which may not be super apparent, especially to players who are colorblind, which honestly, I wonder if that's come up with the color indicators on the backsides of these cards that don't have mana costs. In any event, Etali Primal Sickness is green-red. So all the mana that you have to spend for Etali Primal Conqueror is red, and Etali Primal Conqueror is a mono red creature. However, the Phyrexian mana in the activation, as well as the color identity of Primal Sickness, are both green. So in your mono red commander decks, you will not be able to play this card. Be aware of that. You do have to have green in the mix. Now, if you're playing Jund, if you're playing, anything with green red, go to town, you're good. But otherwise, just be aware that's a thing. Honestly, yeah, in any kind of teamer situation or Naya situation that could blink this thing, get out of town. If you're running Gishath, just put this in here. Like, just put it in your deck. You have no reason not to. Gishath, another one that can, like, free spin into Etali that could then free spin you into other big things. The amount of just free spins that are out there right now with various ways. Don't even get me started on, like, Aetherworks Marvel and anything. Although, actually, Aetherworks Marvel and Etali is probably a bad fit. For a simple reason. Aetherworks Marvel requires you to have a lot of cheap spells that generate energy in your deck. So if you spin into one of those with Etali, that would feel pretty bad. That's kind of a waste. If I'm getting a 1-mana spell off this, I feel pretty bad. So Marvel, I guess, is not a situation where I would want it. But in Reanimation, like if I spin into a Cruelty of Gix with this, I'm living my best life, you know, feeling like $1,000,000. So yeah, I think Etali Primal Conqueror is it's just great. I have no other words. It's just great. If you like big dumb stuff, man, March the Machine has got the big dumb stuff. I can't wait.